going to sound like a repeat from last week, but the offense continues to underperform to an even greater extent this past week, but with a slight reprieve on Sunday. Even another fake Mackey sighting on X to boot. Is there reason for hope long term? Is the team turning a page? We're going to try to answer that question. Welcome and thank you for joining 412 Double Play podcast this week. I am, as always, host Michael Castrogano, joined by my Double Play partner, co-host Ed Wassel. Ed, another week of the offense really struggling, especially against starting pitchers. Finally broke through in the final game of the Rocky series, but overall, just not looking good. And it's been kind of the story of the past few weeks. What are your base thoughts, surface level, on this continued inability to club together hits?
Well, Connor Joe led off today and they won, so that's something we talked about last week. No, I don't know. I was kind of frustrated with the article that came out with Haynes, where he's like, basically okay with the approach, and then also kind of backtracking, saying he's not telling the players to be patient. Like that's definitely not the case.
Yeah, the Haynes article, I think he spoke with he spoke with Alex Stumpf of MLB?
I believe that's who it was.
Yeah, basically the whole idea of their hitting mentality. And when Charrington took over, they said we're not going to do a one-size-fits-all sort of situation with any level, hitting, pitching, base running. And then with hitting, it seems like they have take pitches, work counts, wait for your one or two good pitches. And if you don't get it, just strike out looking. And Haynes is saying, no, that's not the approach that we're taking. They did get more aggressive this past week, but it continued to be kind of problematic. As that kind of mentality does. The whole, what they came in with as a, we believe one size doesn't fit all, is right, and that's really how they should be approaching it. You're not going to expect Reynolds and Kutch to have the same ideas at the plate of hitting as someone like Sawinski or someone like Cruz or someone like Rowdy. Like, these guys they have different goals at the plate and different hot zones and abilities to what they can do, whether they can, hit the ball and take it the other way on an outside corner, or if they're just looking to pull the ball for a big home run. And I don't know. We're seeing the struggles of having that kind of universal attack. But we're going to start with looking at the transactions for this past week. The team completed the Brubaker trade with the Yankees from last month, receiving New York's number 20 at the time ranked prospect per MLB Pipeline, shortstop Kiner Delgado. Lot to like with him. Very much like middle infielder, gets on base a lot, good bat to ball skills, insert other scouting technical terms. But I think he's down in either like Florida State League, or maybe he's in Bradenton, but I think he's still like complex kind of thing. And then ahead of the weekend series back home, the Pirates finally optioned Henry Davis to Indianapolis, activated Yasmani Grandal. He caught 2 of the 3 games this weekend in the Rockies series. So the Delgado part, that's going to be hard to evaluate for probably a number of years. But Davis going down, Yasmani Grandal coming up. Your thoughts on seeing maybe the slowest player we've ever had, which is a feat?
I mean, as soon as I saw that Grandal was coming back off the injury, I was like, well, it has to be Davis, because he's struggled mightily at both behind the plate and hitting. I'm like,
right.
You got to try to get the kid's confidence back, whether that has to be send him down and hope for the best. Because if he struggles in AAA, I don't know what happens to him.
And that's what we've been saying. He did start Friday and I think Saturday's game. I believe he wasn't in today. It was Grant Koch catching for Skeens, and obviously we're going to talk about the Skeens stuff. But he is back down in Indianapolis, and you got to hope that they're able to get things clicking and hopefully I haven't checked his stats from there, but hopefully figure something out because there's a lot of talent. He's hit at every level coming up through the system, and then just was not doing it at the bigs. I know Eli Wilson was catching on Saturday. I'll have to look into that. But jumping into the weekly recap, buckle in, friends. You already know it was a bad week for the most part, but let's digest it together. 3-game set in Oakland against the soon-to-be Sacramento A's. Neither team was in a good spot, but the A's have been scorching lately. They continued after the series, certainly burned the Bucks during the series. Game 1, go to the bases in the first inning. Run scored on a wild pitch, but the team wasn't able to further take advantage there, nor score another run in the game. Bailey Falter got hit around a bit. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 Ks. Team lost 5-1. Game 2, Connor Joe hit a first-inning home run. Key Brian Hayes managed to sack fly in the 4th. Keller, another 5-inning start. But the A's got 5 runs, 2 homers by J.J. Bleday, beat the Pirates 5-2. And then final game, Quinn Priester on the bump, another quality start. He's kind of been putting those together now, at least 2 in a row. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. But offense got nothing going. 4 hits, 4 walks, lost 4-0, securing the sweep for the A's. I mean, I predicted a 3-game sweep. I put the wrong team, put it on the wrong side there. I'm just gonna goes through the Rocky series, and then we're gonna evaluate the week as a whole here. So back home after the off day Thursday, hoping to get things rolling against another struggling team in the Colorado Rockies. Different coast, same story. In the first game, team was held scoreless into the 9th inning. O'Neill Cruz did hit a 2-run home run. It was the only extra base hit of the outing. Rockies already scored 3 off the starter Martin Perez, and the team lost 3-2. Saturday, Jared Jones on the mound. Dude was dealing. Holy cow, we are so lucky to have him. But it's like, he feels so wasted. 7 shutout innings, 1 hit, no walks, 10 strikeouts. Team didn't score any runs to get him the win. Managed to get bases loaded with 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Jack Sawinski comes in a pinch hit for Michael Taylor and manages to shoot an 0-1 fastball from a former Pirate, Nick Mears, into left for the walk-off win. Sunday saw Bailey Falter on the bump. Wheels have really started to fall off for him. 2-run shot to former Bucko backstop Jacob Stallings in second, immediately followed by a solo blast by Sean Bouchard. I think that's how you say his name. Pirates managed a run in the 4th off of Rowdy Tellez infield ground out to the pitcher. Kind of summed up how the team had been able to score runs this past week when they do. But then broke out in the 6th, 4-run inning, punctuated by an O'Neill Cruz 2-run moonshot to right center. Offense finally shows up. That's a 5-3 win and first series victory in 4 weeks. We haven't had a series victory since the Orioles series. Now, the bad news is the Rockies are a very poor team. But the worst news is that we probably should have done even better against them. So the A's, I think they're like 3rd in their division at this point in a pretty good AL West. But at large, what are your thoughts on the past week in series in which we both predicted the Pirates to go 5-1?
Well, I mean, it's nice to see that finally won another series. So it's been 4 weeks, so that's promising. But the offense is still abysmal. I mean, these are 2 teams you should have been able to really get back on track against, and it took until this last game to actually put anything together. And it was just 1 inning of work.
There was a lot of hard contact in that A's series. But they didn't, because I think like Kutch, maybe that was in the Rocky series too, but Kutch has had a bunch of hard hit balls that either die at the track or are just hit directly at an outfielder. And you could see he's getting frustrated. I mean, O'Neill Cruz, he had 2 home runs this weekend. He had a double earlier in the game today that missed being a home run by like 2 feet, if that. So I'm hoping he's finally starting to make things click. I've got him on one of my fantasy baseball teams, so I've got ulterior motives, especially for that. I definitely don't want to drop him, but who do you like the most from this past week? Who do you think has looked of like the best of the worst in your mind from this team?
The best of the worst.
Basically, is what we're looking at here.
I mean, you just mentioned Cruz and the series he just had, so really looks like he might be turning it around. Can only hope that continues because, I mean, we were discussing about whether or not you. I don't think either of us said we were going to option him, but
Right.
possibly
I mean,
shifting him or doing something to bring up one of the hotter bats from Indy. So
well, you mentioned Connor Joe leading off. He's basically been the hottest hitter on the team. This past week, he had 13 plate appearances, went 364, 462, 636 triple slash. So I think that having him as an everyday player or close to an everyday player might be something that they need to do to kind of get the sticks moving forward, to kind of co-opt a football term. I don't think I used it right, but because you got to play the hot hand, and right now that's Connor Joe, and some of these other guys are going to have games. Like I said, Cruz having a good weekend. Kutch has been hitting the ball harder, not getting the results yet, but law of averages eventually is going to turn. And then Tellez hit a really high shot that bounced off the top of the Clemente wall today. Really should have been a home run. He thought it was a home run. I don't think, like, maybe he was running to first, but it sure looked like a normal person's walk. He managed to get to second because the ball managed to bounce so far away from the outfielder. But yeah, I mean, we're in the special today. We're going to talk about all that, but let's first check out Down on the Farm, because we actually had some good news this week. Indianapolis hosting the Buffalo Bisons. Paul Skeens made his first start on 4 days rest, and though he had some struggles, he resumed his moments of dominance as they won today and secured the 4-2 series win over the Bisons. The Bisons already saw him once this week. He just destroyed them. 6 shutout innings, I think 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, something like that. But the minor league teams have been using the Sunday when they start on Tuesday as kind of like a side session. He only went, I think, 4.1 innings today. It was pretty much just like throwing his pitches. The velocity was down a bit. First time he's going on 4 days rest. But overall, looked good. He was still mowing guys down. He was still throwing strikes, still hitting corners. A lot to like there. According to the fake Mackey, we're going to see him soon. According to the real Mackey, nothing confirmed yet. Jake Lamb has also been lighting it up at Indy. He batted .455 this past week, slugging .636. A lot of people calling for him to return to the majors. Not sure. Not there yet. I know that we've got a couple of players who can go on the 60-day. Would open up a spot for him. It's possible. Maybe we do see him at some point. He's certainly making a case for himself. Indy is now at 16-14 record. Altoona at the Harrisburg Senators. They had a rare 7-game week as they had a rescheduled matchup against the Senators added in. Curve finally managed to win today, going 1-6 on the week. They lost 15 straight games heading into the game today. The team got so desperate that Bubba Chandler came in for the save. Chung-Chi Chang has found his stride, clubbing 2 home runs this past week, 7 RBI, en route to a 1.133 OPS, while Chandler combined between his start and close 7.1 innings of 4 hit, 1 run ball with 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. Altoona moves to 6-21 on the season. Greensboro hosting the Winston-Salem Dash went 4-2 this week. The team was led by 2023 13th round pick Charles McAdoo, who had 5 extra base hits, 9 RBI, went 2 for 2 on stolen base attempts, and posted a 1.500 OPS. Hunter Barco made 2 starts this week, combining for 7.1 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. Grasshoppers rise to a 16-10 record. And finally, Bradenton hosting the Fort Myers Muscles. Both teams not very good. Marauders went 5-1 this week. They managed to shoot more than double their win total for the season in 1 week. Michael Kennedy pitched 6 innings of 1 run, no walk, 8 strikeout ball in his start, while the offense was paced by Esmeralyn Valdez and Garrett Forrester, who each had a 1.100 plus OPS on the week. Marauders soar all the way up to 9-18 on the season. Ed, as we usually do, focusing on the top level of Indianapolis, the big thing that Charrington has said is getting and he even said it on his weekly sit down with 93.7 The Fan. He has boxes that he needs Skeens to check. Getting up to a certain pitch threshold, getting up to a certain innings threshold, pitching on 4 days rest are some of those. He's now checked all of those boxes. What is your expectation, not prediction, but expectation on how soon Skeens will be called up to the Pirates?
I'm going to say either the last week of May or the first week of June is what I expect. Do we have a home series? There's got to be a home series somewhere in there.
Between the 21st and the 26th. It's a Tuesday through Sunday. We are hosting the Giants and then the Braves for six games total. That's when you're thinking that it would fit.
That's what I would think.
I mean, it's possible. Maybe kind of like see how he does on a couple more starts, how he bounces back from the Tuesday, Sunday. Yeah. I mean, as it stands right now, nothing has been officially announced. I know that some other teams have been promoting their top prospects, but nobody's promoted a starting pitcher from last year who's a super top prospect. This is one of those things, like even you say, okay, Strasburg wasn't up until June the following year. And that was a crazy, weird case. I'm not really sure how that happened. I remember watching the game. But yeah, overall, Altoona, they've been looking really rough. Chandler's looking good. I still like the pitching there. Like Sullivan, I think, had a good, not great start. But they're just a bit of a mess. They kind of like Bradenton's kind of messed up there. They've been struggling. I don't want to say messed up, but yeah, minor leagues are not. But you're not really looking at the records. You're not looking at the results. You're just looking at development at those levels. So it's a lot of exciting stuff. And maybe in the next week we start seeing some more guys coming up from Indianapolis. Nick Gonzalez is still hitting. Ji-Hwan Bae, of course. Leo Piguero. Possible they make some more moves. It does seem likely, based on the comments from Haynes and based on the comments from Shelton, that they are going to try to continue with the guys that they have. All right. Well, let's turn into our special for this week. Where has the hope gone? Ed's going to hate this, but to quote my very good friend Jake Peralta, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I'm about to monologue, son. I'm about to monologue, son. I'm about to monologue, son.
I forgot to unloop the track. All right. I'm about to monologue, son. Thomas Paine once wrote, "These are times that try men's soul." Now, in this case, this was referring to the American Revolution, and I am co-opting it as a summation for Pirates fandom in 2024. And while I won't surmise that Paine would be a Pirates fan were he alive today, both his surname and these words ring true to Yinzers across the world as Pirates continued this early season swoon. The team's eternal turmoil, bouncing from rebuild to rebuild with no apparent end in sight as fans in other cities watch their franchises achieve success in their attempts. Baltimore, Arizona, and now we're seeing Kansas City and Detroit as the fruits of their collective labor come to fruition, and their teams provide a chance for fans to see winning baseball each and every day. Pirates fans saw a glimmer of this hope during spring training with a team that shattered the previous franchise record for preseason home runs, 49 in just 30 games before limping through the first 34, only managing 25 in that time. The team's offense and rankings through those first 34 games, batting average 223, ranked 24th in MLB. On base percentage of 309, which was 16th, 330 slugging, which was 29th, a 638 OPS is 27th, 25 home runs, 28th, and a WRC plus of 85 was, I believe, 26th. It's appalling. The Bucks rank near the bottom in every conceivable offensive measure over that first month and a bit of the season. Currently occupy just above last place in the NL Central. Luckily, we've got the basement dweller Cardinals to give us a bit of cushion. But this is a division that our own manager and general manager stated at Pirates Fest that we'd be contending to win. The expectations for fans were heightened heading into the season, the fatigue facing potentially another losing season in year 5 of this rebuild when nearly all of the top pieces are at the top level is frustrating for fans across the spectrum. We try to bring optimism and positivity into the mix with our podcast. Well, I do anyway. I can't speak for Ed. But man, is it exhausting as we've seen the starting pitching evolve from our biggest concern to our greatest asset. And now, the part which most propelled fan excitement just 2 months ago in our offense has completely fallen off. So what can be done? Well, I'm going to say outright, the calls to fire hitting coach Andy Haynes are going to go unanswered. Multiple reporters have confirmed Haynes isn't getting canned anytime soon, though if the offensive deficiency continues another month, it's very possible that that is going to get a little bit more likely. The team might call up some of those prospects who we may or may not have seen before. I've already mentioned Nick Gonzalez, Theo Peguero, G1 Bay, 40-man, non-40-man options like Jake Lamb. And once again, Paul Skeens is going to be here very soon. He used to hit in college in the Air Force. Probably won't be doing it in the majors, but just having him on that team, will that excitement rekindle some offensive outbursts? I don't know. The main thing is that, as we've said before, and I wrote last week for Steel City, the pieces that are going to drive this team's success are here. Brian Reynolds, Key Brian Hayes, Jack Sawinski, O'Neal Cruz, they should all be contributing to this team's ability to win and be part of the reason or blame for whether that takes place. Until then, you either watch or you don't. I know I'm going to, as much as I can, not just for the podcast, but because I've seen this team be much, much worse with much less talent. The times are hard, the soul is tired, but still we persist. In the words of F. Scott Fitzgerald, we got 2 famous quotes in here, and so we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Ed, I know you are a literary junkie. What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I'm becoming less and less optimistic as the season goes on.
Are you not stirred by that monologue, though? Do I need to do the monologue
Absolutely
line
not.
again?
No, please don't. It's so frustrating. And I'm also going to try to watch as much as I can, but they're making it very difficult to do so. I'm actually not very happy you just said Sawinski's going to be like a huge part of like us winning, because he hasn't done anything this year.
He hasn't. This has been an extended cold streak, but his approach at the plate
Is watching 3 strikes go right down the middle. The guy doesn't swing the bat.
Well, no. His approach at the plate has changed. He's actually being more aggressive. And if you guys listen to our show, you probably listen to Bridge to Bucktober. If you don't, go check that out, because Josh has been preaching this all season, that Sawinski's basically become more aggressive and should actually be striking out more. He cut his strikeout percentage by like 8 to 10%, which you're not going to believe that, but he's just grounding out and fouling out and flying out, getting weak contact, because he's going for those earlier pitches, trying to get the ball, cut down on the strikeouts and get the ball in play. And it's actually the opposite of what has worked for him in the past and would work for him going forward.
Yeah, but when you're striking out at like a 40% clip, I mean, it's great you're cutting it by 10%. That's still really bad. Like that, to me, that's not something to be proud of, that you're still striking out at almost 30%.
Let me see what his strikeout rate is right now. Sawinski, his strikeout rate is 19.6% on the season.
Okay, that's a lot better than I thought it was.
right? Because you
I
expect that he's striking out
for
a
a minute.
bunch.
No, I thought for a little bit he was above 30 some percent. I thought he was like 35, 36%.
Yeah, that pinch hit RBI single on Saturday really got him right there.
Yeah, it dropped it right down.
I'm just saying these are the guys who the team is building around. They're the ones that they're saying, okay, once these guys are here, we're going to be able to contend. These guys are here. I mean, Davis, you got to hope that he's able to come back and make things work. But the core guys that they've locked up or have been looking to lock up are those four. And then you've got the pitching side who have done pretty well. Even people saying, Skeens needs to come up and replace Bailey Falter. He's a 5 in our rotation, and he's been pitching above that. Like, you expect your 5 to be like 4 or 5 runs every game. And the past 2 haven't been great, but they're better than we probably expected in spring. If these were the first 2 outings we saw out of him, we'd probably be like, all right, Bailey Falters he's better than I thought.
Oh, he's definitely been better than what we expected.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're looking ahead, and we've got a bit more competitive series ahead. We got some homestand, 6 games against some former Pirate pitchers, and as it stands right now, and this is subject to change, a whole bunch of southpaws. So Monday through Wednesday, we're going to host the Los Angeles Angels, and then we've got a 3-day weekend series against the Cubs. As it looks right now, and this is subject to change because in the Cubs series, Justin Steele was just reactivated. He's going to be starting tomorrow, so he's probably going to go Saturday, but nothing's officially announced, so I have to just kind of calculate based off this. Angel series, first game is Southpaw Tyler Anderson facing Mitch Keller. Another lefty in Patrick Sandoval going against Quinn Priester in game 2. And then former Pirate for a minute, I think he was on the 60-day IL for the whole year, Rule 5 pick, Jose Soriano going against Martin Perez on Wednesday. Angels are now without Mike Trout, but still have some interesting pieces in that offense. Mickey Moniak is struggling, but they've got Willie Calhoun. They've got Joe Adell, former Pirate, and Cole Tucker, who's batting .417. Oh, my goodness. Your thoughts on the Angels series?
Well, I'll start out by saying I'm grateful that we're not facing Trout. Yeah, not happy that he's hurt. Poor guy can't catch a freaking break these past couple of years, man.
No.
I mean, I think it's a very winnable series.
I will say, with 2 lefties to start off, you're going to see Connor Joe play. Maybe even lead off.
I hope so.
Yeah, let me see how these guys have been going, and then I'll let you make your predictions on that. Tyler Anderson, actually doing pretty well. 2.23 ERA, 1.07 WHIP. He has 27 strikeouts and 15 walks in 36.1 innings pitched. Sandoval, I don't think has been as good. 5.91 ERA, 1.69 WHIP. 16 walks in 32 innings pitched. And then Soriano, 3.77 ERA. So more middle of the road there. So go ahead and toss out your predictions on this.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh wins 2 of 3.
I think that's pretty much our default. And you say that you're not optimistic, and you're saying, you know what? We just took 2 of 3 from the Rockies, the Rockin' Rockies. We can go take 2 of 3 from them Angels. I mean, I agree. I think we kind of rise to the level of competition or plummet to the detriment of them. So we play down to our competition at times, and the Angels are playing okay ball right now. I think they're probably not. No, they're 12-22, but no, they've lost 8 of their last 10. Forget what I said. We're probably. Oh man, this week of Oakland, Colorado, and then Angels. We're just facing 3 bad teams. Again, Oakland's not bad. They're 17 and 18 right now. They're doing pretty well, but yeah, I agree. 2-1 series win would be really good, especially with 2 lefties, one whom the team is very familiar with, and then Jose Soriano, someone who they tried to develop. He was a Rule 5 draft. It, just because of injuries, didn't work out, and then see what happens there. Cubs series, as it lines up right now, this is per ESPN and is obviously subject to change because we've got Steele coming in, Jameson Tyon on Friday going against Jared Jones, Javier Assad against Bailey Falter on Saturday. It could be pushed out because of Steele, and then Shoto Imanaga on Sunday against Mitch Keller. Imanaga is, as it stands right now, I think he won Rookie of the Month honors last month. He's probably like in position for the NL Cy Young if the season were to end today. He's just been crushing it. Tyon, I think it kind of been a struggle in it, and then Assad's pretty good. I'm not going to put anything past Assad there. I think he's a very competent pitcher, probably better than I think I would have thought. Your thoughts on that series and really looking overall at Chicago, because they don't have Cody Bellinger. Pete Crow Armstrong, I think, has been kind of scuffling. Probably should have looked at those stats there. But I don't, Nico Horner was off to a slow start. He's starting to hit a little bit. Like Michael Busch, I think, overperformed. Like, where's who's the guy on the Cubs right now who you're afraid of?
I don't know. They're pitching probably.
Actually, is Ian Happ? Is he healthy? Is he playing? Never mind. I'm going to say Ian Happ because 100. He always crushes us.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
pitch
still
around Ian Happ, guys.
He's still mad. He's from the Pittsburgh area and just takes it out on the Pirates constantly.
He's batting .235. He has 1 home run. He's going to at least quadruple that series. If you pitch to him, just don't do it, guys. Yeah, so could be Tyon, could be Assad, could be Imanaga. Steele's going to be in the mix there. Yeah, the offense is not super scary. Imanaga has been great. He hasn't, the big thing was, he's got home run issues. He's given up 2 home runs in 34.2 innings, which is a bit surprising.
Yeah, my thing is their offense doesn't have to be scary if we consistently score less than 2 runs a game.
That's true. I mean, we've gotten a tie-in before. I think we've gotten a Assad before, too. I have to go back and look at from last season. No, he's... Wow. No, he's had our number in the past. That'll be a fun write-up. Okay. I think that we're going to play to our competition, but it's really going to be how the offense responds, because I think the pitching on our side, our pitching is better than their hitting, but is our hitting going to match up to their pitching? It's hard to say. So I'm actually going to go less optimistic side. I'm going to say 1-2 next weekend against Chicago.
I was also going 1-2.
All right, so we are in agreement. First
That's
time in
scary. We don't usually agree on anything.
It happens very infrequently. Again, it's also possible Paul Skeens comes up next weekend for the Cup Series and proves fake Mackey right. And it's possible that we start to see some of these hard hit balls fall in. There's a lot of guys are hitting the ball really hard, and it's just not working out for them. Like Tellez, for all the crap that he gets, he's got a 46.9% hard hit rate, which is only behind Cruz and Kutch on the team. Which I know, okay, that if, among this team, Tellez, he's gonna get hits. He's not going to get a lot of hits, but he's going to hit some power. He's going to hit some doubles off the wall or really loud singles because, man, between him and Grandal, it's like a tortoise and a snail racing.
Well,
All
you're not
right.
getting either of them on the podcast anytime soon after that comment.
No, I don't think they weren't in the cards before heading into that. But any final thoughts before we shoot up our outro?
Oh, I think we covered just about everything. I'm still
All right.
upset with the
Well,
offense. You're still overly optimistic about this whole team.
always. It was starting to fade a little bit, but then we got two wins in a row. We won a series against the Rockies. I was like, all right, it is fate renewed. And I did my whole write up ahead of Saturday's win.
And do
I
you
was
know
like,
what one main key thing is for both of those wins? I don't think you're going to get it off the top of your head, but
so the first win was strong pitching and then just like breaking through against a former Pirates pitcher.
I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure in both of those games, the Pirates only had 6 strikeouts.
I'll have to look at that.
Which
I'm not getting it
is
off the top of my head, but
very, very good for the Pirates, considering they're usually like double-digit strikeouts.
6 strikeouts in today's game. Most boring outro ever. I don't think they did strike out that much yesterday. 7 strikeouts in Saturday's game. Yeah, limiting strikeouts, putting balls in play, eventually they're going to fall, especially if you're hitting them hard. Eventually it happens. All right, good point. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. That wraps it up for all of us here at the 412 Double Play Podcast. You can follow me on X at 412 Double Play. Follow Ed at Ed_Wasso. Continue listening to the show on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You're listening to it now. You know where to find it. Subscribe so you get notified when we drop our new episodes. Check out the articles posted by me and fellow podcasters at steelcity.com. The link, as always, in the description. And as always, thank you for checking out our show. From all of us here at the 412 Double Play Podcast, thank you for joining us. To better days ahead, and let's go Bucks.
Let's go Bucks.
Take it away, Sawyer.
Lady Jolly Roger, dude.
Thank you.